Shalom. This is an emergency broadcast alert giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rekakadash, in whom we are in great debt. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who will well continue doing so, standing firm in the eyes of Terah, who I learned this truth from. To the elders, the bishops, Akim and Aquab, salutations and blessings to the house of David. We are the hopeful elect GMS. This is your brother Quasiyar, and this is going back into that beautiful should I say beautiful deal. This is the deal that we're waiting for. And why I say it that way, because you can't trust thy enemy, although he goes crouching. Give me a second, because although that scripture, it's mainly for the Israelites, but in general it fits him well because he goes around doing it to everybody else. This is Zerach. Also, it's Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach. 12 verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for as a brass pot his wickedness rusteth. Never trust thy enemy, for as a brass pot his wickedness rusteth. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And most people do not take heed. They trust in him. No matter how much, but then again, it is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that has that in order. That they should keep doing the things that they're doing because they were giving a blessing to rule with the sword. But that is coming to an end. So this is why people are kind of waking up, but not just yet, because the Lord hasn't flipped the switch completely. He's got a dimmer on. You bought a dimmer. You've used dimmers. You dim the light, right? And then suddenly you can spot on, right? You can hit them with the brightest light you want. This is exactly what's happening with the world right now in Esau Edom. This is what brings me back to that deal. Because right now, they have Fauci. He is in court. Right now, he is being he's being trialed. But since he's constantly playing the fifth and he's got so much money, he can go around and doing this for a bit. And eventually, they haven't preventing, because they're not preventing him from moving around or travel. Yeah, he can disappear, or they might just turn around and look. I don't know, because I do not know the plans of Esau Edom, and I do not know the plans of Yahweh Bas Yahushai. I can only tell you about what is going to happen, because according to the scripture, I read the scripture, I understand the scripture, and I break it down to you according to what's happening in the world. If you do not take heed to that, that's you, and should I say between you and your creator, whoever you think that is. Now,
the 19th century saw the rise of the modern industrialist, an explosion of immigration, inventions that would change the world, and the birth of the billionaire class, Mark Twain's 1873 novel, The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. Many of the business practices of these so-called robber barons were perhaps deemed necessary to conduct business back then, but one man rose above his contemporaries to use politics, force, coercion, subterfuge, and manipulation, becoming the world's first billionaire. He was one of the most corrupt men in history in increasing his wealth at the risk of the health and lives of American citizens. And he had a lot of help. That phenomenon still exists to this day. Who was John D. Rockefeller? How did he make his wealth and maintain it? What did he do that would be considered criminal acts today? How was his influence survived even through today? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome.
Like you. Who does Fauci represent? Damn, he look a lot like this demon right here, man. Now we all know the history. We've gone into this how the families of the Rothschild, DuPonts, Rockefellers, they all had uh, the banks. Um, how should I say this? They 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 all branched together, and they never allow no one to, how should I say? In other words, it's all in the family, man. They don't have no one else that comes from the outside. All right. This is how they can they grew in power because they set themselves, you know, they set themselves up. They teach their children and so on and so forth.
John Davison Rockefeller Sr. was born on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York. He became an assistant bookkeeper at age 16 and entered into the business world and made good investments, joining in partnerships beginning at age 20. Many of his business partners were connected to the Freemasons, but there is no evidence that Rockefeller was ever a member.
Well, I'm gonna place the link in the description box for this video. I am not gonna play the whole video for edification's sake. Okay? And there's some things that I'd rather not. Anyways, let's move on.
His own money and family support, he engaged in the oil business, drilling in some cases, but primarily oil refining. And then he founded the Standard Oil Company in 1870 and managing the company until 1897. By 1900, Rockefeller controlled about 90% of all the petroleum production in the United States, and his research teams created the first plastics, gasoline for internal combustion engines, which brought himself and Henry Ford quite close together, as well as Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, all as business partners. The invention of the internal combustion engine created the need for gasoline, and Rockefeller controlled the entire industry and a member of the healthcare industry as well. Using his political contacts, who were essentially on his payroll for their elections, he had natural healing methods banned, doctors thrown into prisons, and hospitals and clinics threatened with being shut down if they did not follow his game plan.
All right, so that's enough for that because there's too many commercials on this, and this can get, anyways, like I said, you want to see the whole video? I'll place the link in the description box. There's other things I want to show you that will lead, because what happens is that the Trump and Bibi issue is just creating a chaotic scene. And yes, I understand that some people might see it like there won't be no deal. And I can see that. I can see why people might think that. But the issue is here. The thing is that the devil, Esau Edom, so-called white man, all he cares about control. Look what happened in China. They didn't win the war, but they won the commercial industry, the buy and sell. Who's on top? You see? So it all goes down to prophecy. It all comes down to prophecy. It all comes down to one thing: Jacob's trouble and the MOTV. All right. And so I'm going to read the scripture again. This is Sirach. This is Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for as a Salakia. Never trust thy enemy, for as a brass pot his wickedness rusteth. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And though he humble himself. He lost the war. I'm sorry. Let's make a deal. Let's get a agree to yeah, you got it, man. You won. You know, uh, let's make this deal and the chip and well, I messed it up because I didn't want to say that, but it's already out there. But the deal for the MOTB, they got the doctors. We have, you know, the researchers. We could get along. We could do this. You could do that. Let's just get along. Eventually, people are going to know that all he wanted was to take full control of the world. And you know, anyways, let's just get a little further out so you can understand why I'm saying it this way. Again, this is not medical information. The contents presented on this video, or should I say this channel, is for news, educational, and information purposes only. The water to the elder Washawamba, the water Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahashin Yahweh Shai, for this clip that he put up on his video. And this, I'm cutting it because there's so much noise, and Salakia for that. And as I played that clip from that other video, that channel, this is not, I'm not making any money from from this channel. Copyright disclaimer. A copyright disclaimer under the section 107 refers to the fair use provisions of the United States Copyright Act of 1976. All right, so for me using these people's video, I'm not making any. This video is up there. This just has a lot of videos. I mean, a lot of commercials. So they making money out of this. I'm not making no money out of this. Salakia. Let's move on to the next clip. All right, so Jimmy Dole talks about these people, and it is ridiculous because it was never to be trusted, man. Okay, this was never to be trusted in the first place. Let's just hear it.
This Hidero tweeted this out. Some of these quotes are from 20 years ago. I'm going to show you the Dana Bash and RFK confrontation. But
hey, man, look, I showed you a video clip that was 40. Well, I think it was 60 years ago.
I first want to show you this, just so you keep this in mind. This is from the former editor-in-chief of the New England Journal of Medicine. This is a quote. It is simply no longer possible to believe much of the clinical research that is published, or to rely on the judgment of trusted physicians or authoritarian medical guidelines. I take no pleasure in this conclusion, which I reached slowly and reluctantly over 2 decades as editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. As editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. The medical profession is being bought by the pharmaceutical industry, not only in terms of a practice of medicine, but also in terms of teaching and research. The academic institutions of this country are allowing themselves to be paid agents of the pharmaceutical industry. I think it's disgraceful. Who said that? The former editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. That's a different one. Medical journals are an extension of the marketing arm of pharmaceutical companies. Who said that? The former editor-in-chief of the British Medical Journal. Much of the scientific literature, perhaps half, may simply be untrue. Afflicted by studies with small sample sizes, tiny effects, invalid exploratory analysis, and flagrant conflicts of interest, together with an obsession for pursuing fashionable trends of dubious importance, science has taken a turn towards darkness. Who said that? The editor-in-chief of The Lancet. What it is a corruption of scientific process. It's led me and others to increasingly question the idea that the manufacturer of the drug could ever be considered the right people to evaluate its effectiveness and safety. Who said that? The former editor-in-chief of the British Medical Journal. The poor quality of much medical research is widely acknowledged. Yet, disturbingly, the leaders of the medical profession seem only minimally concerned about the problem and make no apparent efforts to find a solution. Who said that? The chief statistical advisor to the British Medical Journal.
So, Lucky, I hope I don't lose my track. So, I'm not bringing you, or should I say, I'm not showing you this video because, well, put it this way, I'm not showing you the video for my brothers or the hopeful lady, or should I say, the elect lady, hopeful elect ladies that are watching or that may watch. All right, I'm doing this video for those who still have a little doubt. You might be of the elect, and the Lord is still, He's knocking on your door, and you're debating. Don't debate, man. Just embrace, because this might be your last chance. Because the vaccines are coming back, regardless. All right.
The idiot, criminally insane, and liar Dana Bash talking about measles and other things with RFK Jr. Let's watch.
Okay, do you want to talk about assertions that you can't support? I'll get there in a second. Let me just say, for the record, that I am not saying that the entire way that the COVID reaction was accurate. It was
the entire. No, it's exactly the exact opposite. The entire reaction to the COVID situation was a lie from start to finish. The entire. They lied about where the virus came from. It was manufactured by Dr. Fauci.
Look, we all saw that. And if you haven't seen that, I don't know what rock you've been under. But the proof it has come out that they actually put it together, right? It's been paid for. Your loving so-called white man, all right? And I'm going to read it again. This is the Rock 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for as a brass pot, his wickedness rusteth. Though he humble himself and goes crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Beware of him, why? Because he's got something up his sleeve.
You believe Donald Trump saying there's a deal, or the Iranian spokesman saying we're not even talking to them?
Yeah, the Iranians. Well, there are no direct conversations anyway. They haven't been throughout this entire process. It's carried out with intermediaries, with the Qataris and with the Pakistanis. And what I've learned is that the U.S. demand is that the nuclear issue be dealt with up front. That's first and foremost what has to be talked about.
Remember, Trump just made a deal with the Iran. I'm sorry, Salakia. The Saudis, Saudi Arabia, all right? And he wants Saudi to go in there and start pushing some buttons.
About before anything else. And Iran's position says, no, you're gonna fulfill the MOU first. And before that, and once that MOU is fulfilled and complied with, then.
So Iran is saying, no, we're not going to talk to you or deal with you until you fulfill the deal that we had in the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. Here it is. I believe the memorandum will be the center of gravity of our foreign relations in the future. We must strive to compel the enemy, meaning the United States and Israel, to remain committed to what it has signed. The security of the country, the region, and our allies will be enhanced by this memorandum. And that's the president of Iran saying that.
Okay, I agree. I will abide by that deal that I signed, but can you make another deal with me? Because, that doesn't seem totally fair to us. Although, yeah, we have our differences. It's coming because it needs to be fulfilled in order for this to happen because it's there. And when let me just read it. So the thing is there, right? So let me just go over here real quick. All right. Where is it? Okay, here it is right here. This guy right here. Because this is what Iran is specializing in the brain implants. All right. So this is Revelations 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a one of these in your forehead. What is it? In the right hand or in their forehead. See that? See that? Can't make this up, bro. You can't make this up. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, say that he that had the one of these or the name of one of these, because what happens is that it's going to carry the name of the beast or the number of his name. So he's going to have a barcode. The barcode carries 3 6s. That's the number of his name. This is what it is.
So again, it's the exact opposite. The United States and Trump and Marco Rubio have broken every part of the memorandum of understanding. And until they go back and fulfill that, there will be no negotiations. And if the United States tries to ramp it up, Iran is going to wipe out the Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain. It's done, and they know it.
And this is what it might lead to. A few more bombs must be thrown in order for this deal to go ahead because what the United States is doing is testing to see if these, or should I say Iran, have the capability to keep firing those missiles. Or they're running out, just like they did. But they have no other choice but to bend over, like the elder says, the elder Malkama. Nevertheless, this can be it. Like this is like the road that leads to it. Nevertheless, no matter what road you lead or you walk on, is going to lead to Jacob's trouble and the MOTV. Anyways, do I have a little bit more? Let me see. All right, I guess I could play a little bit more because Iran do have leverage over a lot of things right now. So that's why this scripture is keeps coming back, man. The one, let me see, where is it? Zerach 12 and 10. Never trust thy enemy, for as a brass pot, his wickedness rusteth. You can't trust him, man. He always got something up his sleeve.
Talk about the nuclear side, and it's an impasse. Iran's not budging, and so far the U.S. hasn't budged. The difference is Iran has the leverage in this. So right now there are still, if you go on to vesselfinder.com or marinetraffic.com, you can see the ships that are moving in and out. So there still is some traffic, LPG tankers, cargo ships coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. Not a lot. I count the 1, 2, 3, 4 right now that are headed out, and it looks like about 6 headed in. None of them are going through the Omani side of the channel.
Meaning they're all paying fees to the Iranians.
Anyways, whatever they paying fees or no paying fees, some say they paying fees, some people say they're not paying fees. It don't matter. I hope this was edifying. Shalom.